In this video, I am going to discuss a short story, All Creatures Great and Small, written by a very popular writer, Ruskin Bond. This story is prescribed for the first semester bcom students, Bangalore University. Now, let me give you the characters of this story. We have grandpa, we have grandma, we have our narrator, Ruskin Bond, and we have Aunt Mabel. We also have a special character, Python, in this story. In the story, we see the contrast between the interests of grandpa and grandma. Grandpa in this story was interested in keeping some unusual animals as his pet animals, whereas grandma was not at all interested in having unusual animals as pet animals, and she opposed him for having such unusual thoughts. She was tolerant towards most birds and animals, but she drew line at reptiles. Once grandpa goes to bazaar to buy some vegetables. When he goes there, he finds an attractive young python which was 4 feet long with a snake charmer. He was impressed with the python. He had 6 rupees in his pocket. He wanted to buy it. So he goes straight to the snake charmer and he pays 6 rupees. Then he gets it. After buying the python, he wanted to impress the bazaar by slinging the snake across his neck. He started impressing the bazaar crowd. Everybody is impressed with his style of putting the python on his neck. When he reaches home, grandma nearly fainted and started scolding him for having that dangerous snake in his neck. She insists that the python must be taken away immediately, and she orders him to lock the python in the bathroom and go back to the bazaar to bring that snake charmer to take this away, to get rid of this away. Because a guest is expected to come the next day. Grandpa tries to convince grandma, but grandma was not at all ready to listen to his stories. He had to do whatever she says. So he locks the python in the bathroom. He goes to the bazaar to find the snake charmer. But he doesn't find the snake charmer. He comes back with his crestfallen face. But grandma insists that he himself should take the python, walk so far from their place and cross the riverbed and leave it in the jungle. So this is what grandma instructed to grandpa. But before taking the python away, grandpa wanted to feed it. So he takes a plucked chicken and goes to the bathroom where the python was locked. When he goes there, the python was not there. It had escaped through the window. Grandpa had locked the bathroom door, but he forgot to close the window. So the python had escaped through the window. Now everybody becomes so apprehensive and they begin their search mission. Everybody, grandpa, grandma, gardener, cook, skin bond, everybody starts searching for the python. They search for the python in the kitchen, in the garden, in the poultry shed, everywhere. But they were unable to find the python. Finally, they believed that the snake must have gone so far from their place and they were relaxed. The next day, when the guest Aunt Mabel arrives for 3 weeks stay, both Grandpa and Ruskin Bond were very apprehensive if the python gives a sudden appearance before Aunt Mabel. But for a few days, nothing happened. First day, the python was not seen anywhere. The second day also, it was not seen anywhere. But on the third day, when Aunt Mabel was reaching out for a guava fruit, she sees the python in the guava tree and she comes screaming towards the veranda and she complains that she saw a python which was 20 feet long. The python had not left the place. It was still there, roaming in and around the residence. But they thought that it had escaped and it had gone far away from that place. From that moment onwards, the python started giving series of appearances. The second time, Aunt Mabel sees the python under her cushion. It was when she decides to pack her luggage, and that is when they all intensify the hunt. But the python was not at all caught. It was giving its series of appearances in the most unexpected places. Once it was seen on the dressing table, curled up and looking at its own reflection in the mirror. Gradually, it fell in love with its own reflection, and mirror became its weakness. And grandpa somehow finally got to know the weakness of the python. It was mirror. Finally, grandpa prepares a cage and he installs a mirror in it, and he also keeps some delicious food, juicy chicken. Then nothing happened for a few days, and they all expect that the snake would go into the cage as there is a mirror. But for few days nothing happens. But finally, when the narrator was about to go to school, he notices the python inside the cage. Then he informs his grandpa and he locks the python with his trapdoor, and they take the cage and they keep it in the pony trap, and they travel far away and they leave it in the jungle. So this is the first time that a snake falling in love with its own reflection, and this is all about the story, all creatures, great and small.